now you're heading over to part 2 of that episode right over there. All right, so here we go. 3, 2, 1. Hey everyone, we are back with the video portion now with Ari Tulla of ELO Health. Man, this has been a lot of fun. I'm so glad to have met you so far. Let's talk about a little bit of the personal side of life, right? You know, we didn't talk about the business and all of the really amazing things that you have going on currently and that are probably going on in the very near future. I'd love to know what you do, like live that human power life. What are your things? Like, what are your activities? What are your things? You mentioned your diet as well. We can talk a little bit about all of that if you don't mind.
Yeah, I think I believe that human health is not very complicated in the health. It's basically 3 things. One is your recovery. Think about sleep, think about your mindfulness. Secondly, it's about what you eat, what you put in you. And then thirdly, it's of course, the kind of the activity and the movement. I don't say training, because I think you can be healthy without training specifically. You can be healthy by walking in the forest an hour a day. But those are the 3 things that I think are the cornerstones. And I say always first, recovery, because being involved in Ōura for the last 8-9 years and having had a ring in my finger for 7 years every night, I have pretty good data set of sleep, and I have been really honing my sleep routine. And I think now I'm doing things right. And I have now linked nutrition, training, and recovery, and that becomes really cool because your eating and your drinking, especially alcohol, will impact heavily on your sleep. Your training will have a massive impact on your sleep. So I rarely ever eat after 7. I almost never drink alcohol after 5. I almost never train after 7 p.m. And I sleep amazingly well. And I'm recovered in the morning physically, but also mentally. I mean, I try to be the best CEO, the best founder, the best husband, the best father every day. You have to be mentally ready, and you are not getting any younger. So that's kind of how I think about the principles of my health.
Yeah. So what are your favorite movement activities? What are your things you love to do? I know you mentioned rock climbing earlier, but what is that the newest thing, or is there more?
Well, I'm from Finland, so I did Nordic skiing and played hockey all my youth. I was playing in one of the better teams in Finland, hockey. And hockey is like, in Finland, like Canada has hockey. I mean, hockey is a big deal. And, I was just a bit too small. I'm 6 foot tall. I was a defenseman. My defender friend, went to NHL, became one of the best players in the world ever. And I was not that good. So I went to build companies instead. But then, it made me a lifelong athlete. When I was in teenager, I trained twice a day for many, many years. And, you get addicted to it. And I was addicted to video gaming as well, but that's another story. But, I found another love when I was maybe 19 years old. That was rock climbing. Accidentally, I was living next door to the first rock climbing gym in the country of Finland. And, I became a fanatic. My wife started to climb. We climbed for 20 years around the world.
Oh, wow.
And when I moved to
California.
No, I moved to California. One reason why we moved to California was because, we wanted to climb in Yosemite and El Cap and stuff like that. And I've been on the walls in Yosemite many months. Cool. And that's my playground. And now with kids and all, I mean, I'm more like an indoor rat, climbing the plastic indoor. My son climbs actively, and my hope is to be kind of competing properly now when I turn 45 and get to the old guys, masters.
Perfect. There we go.
But I've been in, like, because there's a lot of good people climbing the bay, and I was 2 years ago, it was so amazing. My coach invited me to climb, and I was climbing just before the free solo premiere together with Timmy and Alex in my gym, and I think I was able to climb one route that Alex couldn't climb. I was feeling pretty good myself at that moment.
But you were the smart guy. You had the ropes. You had ropes on there, and the harness, and the helmet, or all that stuff. That's so cool, And I mean, I'm only seeing you via Zoom, but you don't look like a climber. Most climbers that I've met are, make me look fat, and you don't look like a tiny guy.
No, but I'm pretty bulky, and I mean I'm pretty strong. I do bouldering now, so I mean it kind of gives you more muscle. But you can't leave who you are. Like, I was a hockey player, And in a
Yeah.
hockey player, you have to be pretty strong. If you're not big enough, you're gonna be dead in the
Yeah,
field.
exactly,
So you
exactly.
have to do it. But I also do a couple other things. I do snowboarding a lot. I started that like very early, like mid 80s maybe, and I spent a lot of time in the Alps in Chamonix, and now I spend a lot of time in Tahoe, free skiing and free snowboarding. And that's something that I love deeply. And then lastly, I love surfing. I mean, that's also the reason why I live in California, because I mean I surf multiple times a week, and I'm not good. Surfing is the most difficult thing you can do in the world. I mean, I suck at it, and I've been doing it for 20 years every week, many times.
Well, listen, when it's fun, like, listen, I was a competitive alpine skier. But where I did, 20 years I was as an athlete, as a skier, and then just free skiing and backcountry skiing. And I see my friend's 12-year-old son doing stuff that I dreamed of doing when I was 30, and he's doing it at 12. So I mean, the evolution of these sports is crazy. So your kids, if they're surfing, they're gonna be better than you in like a week than than you are after 20 years. It's crazy. And you also mentioned food. Let's jump into food for a second. So you mentioned, are you mostly ketogenic, or getting rid of grain? Like, talk a little bit about that. What's like the ideal? Nobody's perfect, but what's your ideal type of eating?
My eating is I hate the word diet. I
Yeah.
think diet is an artificial limitation that human reptile brain can understand,
Mm.
because we can't think food. It's too complicated. It's micros and macros, too hard to understand. So what we do, we say, I'm going to eat keto, I eat vegan, I eat paleo, I eat, whatever.
Yeah.
Like there's a million options. And what I try to do is to be mainly, plants. I think Polan is right about his thoughts. But I mean, meat is not bad for me anymore. I was a vegan for a long time. Today I eat meat because my kids, they like it. We normally get our meat from, I think we use the Maui venison now. So it's like a bow hunted deer from Maui.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah,
it's
yeah.
super
Very cool.
clean and it's a really good meat. But I mean, you don't need to spend that much money for if you don't want, but it's just a thing we wanted to do. But what I do normally, if you think about the day, I eat a breakfast. If I have not, if I train hard last day or previous day, or I'm going to train hard in the morning, I'm going to eat a breakfast. If I don't, I'm going to intermittent fasting until the lunch, almost every day. Then I really rarely eat carbs more than 80 grams. I'm not on keto all the time, but I'm a little bit on keto every morning after my fasting. And I really don't eat the dinner after 7 p.m. or I don't eat anything after 7 p.m. So
Okay.
that's kind of the rule that I have. And I do supplement quite a bit now with protein powder and with supplementation. So I try to keep myself pretty optimal from those perspectives. But I mean, it's just I look at it in a perspective that I'm from Finland, so I'm from very, very narrow gene pool. I mean, people here they ate dairy, berries, and I don't know, meat. There was no grains available because it is so north, and that's my ancestral diet. And when I've been going deeper and deeper into nutrition and work with a lot of scientists, the blue zones and all these places that people live a long time, you look at kind of how they live. And then what we do now, we just eat the same type of diet we talked earlier about, that is
Mm.
basically making us sick. I'm trying to eat the diet that my ancestors ate maybe 4 generations ago. So what I can eat and what I can't eat, I can't do grains. Grains are spiking my glucose wildly. I can't do corn. It spikes like crazy. I can't do rice. It spikes dramatically. But I can do ice cream because they all ate dairy for a long time.
Interesting. Yeah,
So
yeah.
I used the glucose monitoring for 2 years to really hone my diet. I have recorded more than 1,000 meals and my glucose response to meals, 1,000 different meals. It's a pretty
Yeah.
unique data set. And we are now bolting that into ELO AI for myself, I hope this year. And I can see the right outcomes for me. And that's pretty cool. Uh,
Yeah.
but it's like, I don't think that you should kind of follow one way of, I
Mm.
mean, like Tim Ferriss or this and that says something. You should kind
Of
of think
course.
about and listen to your own body. And that's the problem that most of us have. We are not able to feel things. Half the people today, they don't know if they're hungry or thirsty. And that sucks. I mean, like my wife is super sensitive. She will know that, her kidney is sick. I mean, because she can feel her body. I can't that level, but I'm better than most already. It took me many years to learn that.
That's interesting, and I had another conversation. I'm trying to remember with another, I don't remember who it was, but he said, yeah, he's like, it's just like a social construct. You got keto this, and you have to follow these guidelines, and it's really not made for everybody. And, it's just, things that have worked for people that they started to write about and research about. And I think ultimately a lot of that type of research will always be focused and it'll get the answers it wants. The keto is the best, vegan is best, carnivore is best, all of them are the best. And I couldn't agree with you more. Than you look at like the ancestral diet and you start to test. And for me, the same way, like I think I'm an Eastern European mutt is where my genetics come from. So like meat and potatoes are great foods for me. And I've done the plant-based thing and I performed very well as an ultra marathoner with plant food. But now like I've tested it having lots of like grass finished like red meat, venison, things like this. I perform the same way. I'm like, okay, maybe I'm holding on to my muscle longer with that type of food potentially than just mostly plant-based. So I think people really need, I think like ELO Health, like it's going to hopefully help people like dial in more and play a little bit more, because I think if you start testing, you'll see, especially if you're athletic, it's very easy to figure this out in a very short period of time. Like you mentioned, recovery, sleep, all of those things are massive. I know if like alcohol, I'm not a big drinker, but if I have a drink, one, my sleep on my HRV, all that is just wrecked. I mean, it's so bad. I'm like, I have one drink, like, how does that even work? But it's just, how your body responds to the sugars, the alcohols, all those things. So, I'm glad that you are in the same boat as me as far as navigating to what works best for you versus I'm doing a diet type of thing. So it's very cool.
I think you make a great point about the Ōura or Fitbit or Whoop, any sleep tracker, maybe 8 Sleep. You're gonna see almost everybody who will buy those products, they're gonna understand the impact of alcohol to your sleep, and many, if not most people, will cut down alcohol. Yeah. What a massive benefit. I mean, that, in my opinion, is the biggest benefit we have seen because of these trackers. And that's what I said earlier. If you can measure something, then you can improve it. And that's how we see these surprising things happening. And one point that is super interesting also, we've been working a lot on proteins, of course. Not saying what we're going to launch next, but protein is really, really interesting. Yeah. So protein is cool because it has an impact on your recovery. And if you train, like, you train a lot. Mm-hmm. I train quite a bit, maybe not as you. I mean, you run more than I do. But the bottom line is that, your training, what training is, it's about breaking your muscle. It's about putting your body into stress. And then after that stress, you will recover, and you're going to build better muscle, more muscle tissue, better muscle tissue. I mean, that's what training is. And it's really important that you're getting the protein at the right time. And that's the one area we will be working a lot at ELO in the coming months. How do you optimize the right dosing and the timing for protein, for example? And that is something that most people do wrong. And if you do it right, because, most Americans today, we do get enough protein on a daily basis, but we do not get the protein at the right time.
Yeah, no, I've heard that. And listen, I'm a novice when it comes to that. And, I test, I eat sometimes during runs. I don't eat during runs, and I have, like, it's hard. And, when I do these, I have this will be produced already, but I'm doing a 30-hour run, which is really going to screw up my HRV. Wow. But it's, it'll probably be 120 miles is my guess, around there. And I'll probably consume between 5 and 15,000 calories while I'm moving. And I will probably lose weight when I'm done, and like playing with that nutrition as far as recovery goes. even on like a run today, I think I ran 7.5 miles this morning, is figuring out, okay, do I eat right after? Do I wait an hour, let whatever happen? I usually take a cold shower or jump in cold water like right after. Like, so I guess I'm going to be paying very close attention to when you when you figure this out. And I guess another question that then we can wrap this up is, so with the protein, does it matter whether it's from like pea protein, like a plant protein? Does it matter if it's from like a grass-fed whey? Does it matter if it's like an egg protein, or should it be from food itself? What would you think would be like the best? Forget the timing at the moment. What do you think would be the best?
I think there are some minor differences between the different type of proteins. The most important amino acid in protein is the leucine. That's the one that will be the key for recovery. You can get the leucine from the pea, from the whey, and from the many other types of protein. You have an array of proteins today. My opinion is that take the protein that fits into your belief system. If you are the meat eater, I wouldn't then avoid eating the whey. If you don't want to eat meat, you can take the pea. I think that's kind of how you should think about it. But it's not, again, like anything in food. I mean, we are at ELO, we go super deep in, like we're working on this. I just have these pills next to me. I don't know if you see it, but there's like a black pill for omega-3. We work together with a company that is building this amazing algae-based omega-3 that is vegan, and it doesn't give you the fish burps. It actually is more bioavailable than any other omega-3 product. So we went really deep into science. We optimize everything because we want to have an impact into your lipid panel. But if you talk about the protein and many other food things, again, we are eating today, average, if you take 1 to 100, we are eating between 30 and 40. If you eat 60% diet, you will likely stay healthy and live 10 years longer. So let's not be perfect, but let's try to be in the right. That to me is more important than anything else. And I think food is such a complicated matter because many of us, are we here to eat or other way around? Like many people, they live to eat. I mean, that's just a hobby and that's a life. And, if you have an Italian family, you go with them, or like you go to Indian wedding, like food is such a big part of the culture. And we can't disintermediate that. And what happens today, maybe there's an interesting nugget that is good for people to keep in mind. Many of us listening today, we think about food and we think that we are eating a good, very kind of wide variety diet by eating Indian food on Monday, Italian Tuesday, Thai food on Wednesday, and we end up eating the same freaking pasta and the carbs every day, and rice, the pasta, the noodles. And we think we feel that we are eating this sort of cool diet that is like around the world, but we don't eat the right food for us that might be totally different. So I think the fact that we have so many options today available makes us eat worse diet as a whole from the micro and macro perspective, and definitely not the diet that is the ancestral diet, like for me, for family tree who used to live in the forest, foraging berries.
No, I think that's so true. And I get picked on a lot of times by my family, even my extended family. I look at like my grandmothers, and my grandfather, in their 90s. They're like, why don't you eat something? I'm like, I don't live to eat. Like I don't need to. Like I eat what I want, what makes me feel good, what helps me recover. Like I'm okay with that. Like it doesn't bother me. But some people have such an emotional connection to food with their culture, or even just with what they've seen on TV, for all I know. So it's it's a really interesting concept. Food is definitely complicated, to say the absolute least. But let's finish.
Totally. Go ahead.
No, we can keep going. I just
I was just saying, because I think the one thing that people have talked a lot about, and I think there's this aspect of that side, and then the other one is really the collective aspect of food. And I think most of us, we have seen the Red Wedding, episode in Game of Thrones, and after breaking the bread, you don't kill all the people who come to your wedding.
Exactly.
But it happened, and it was kind of nasty. But the point is that the food is such an important factor for family. So at ELO, for example, we've been very conscious about this. When we go forward, and we're going to add more and more things beyond supplements, like food and meals, we will not focus on the dinner anytime soon, because we think the dinner is really the bonding moment for the family, bonding moment for people together. And the breaking bread is such a key piece. It's been with us for more than 100,000 years.
Yeah, community.
Sitting in a campfire. I don't want to break that moment by making you think, can I eat this? Just eat it and optimize the breakfast and the lunch, and you're going to be fine.
Yeah, no, I think that's huge. I agree 100%. Like we talk about community being immunity. Like it's very powerful. Like from being around other humans to breaking bread, having that family moment. Yeah, I agree 100%. I think that's very powerful, because then you're changing the psychology as well in a good way. If you keep doing the good things to keep you happy, your physiology will follow as well. Then you focus on the other 70% or 80%, and it makes the rest of life easy. So, Ari, this has been awesome. I'm so glad to have met again. Everybody head over to I shouldn't say head over to the show, scroll down from this video, get all the connections, all the details, everything about ELO Health. Connect with Ari, and I think you're gonna, have a healthier future because of it. So Ari, thank you again so much, man. I appreciate it.
Big thank you.
So you're still here. Awesome. I want to thank you so much for watching part 2 of this episode. Make sure you scroll down on the page you're on right now and join our tribe of human-powered life heroes. You definitely want to be the first to get information on new episodes, new videos, product launches, live events, affiliate discounts, and so much more. So have a great day, evening, or night, and we'll see you on the next episode. Bye-bye.